There's my dog. It's the ever-threatening UPS man just went by. Move one step further down the value scale towards my blacks. I know from your angle that my egg looks a little distorted, but it's a little bit better drawn than it looks from your point of view. It's just sort of a condition of trying to record this in my little studio here. I want you to watch what I'm doing rather than sort of where I'm going, I suppose. There's an excellent lesson on how your relationship to what you're painting and how you're sitting or standing and everything really matters, because think about how distorted things can get when you start moving around and sitting below and sitting above your work that you're working on. A little too stiff in terms of viscosity, so I'm going to loosen the viscosity up. Just sort of laying down my paint here. And smooth it out in a little bit. You can see how, because I added that titanium white, that the temperature shift as well. So right now the mixture I have is probably like a maybe a 4 on the value scale. Oops. Again, just trying to keep that in mind, that everything right now should be quite thin. Very malleable. Now, this type of painting we call the alla prima. That means basically it's a wet into wet painting, so we can have these moments like right then when I have this whiter or lighter value I just added, and then I can work my dark tones right into that to give me the smooth transitions that I want between those value steps. So we're gonna try to remember to work the whole painting at once here. Now that the large portion of the painting is solid. So by that I mean that I've fleshed out or worked out the composition and feel pretty confident about the shape of my egg. This painting is still in very early stages, so now I can start to work out the painting. Make sure that I'm paying attention to the whole composition. Still finding that the value of the white ground is quite luminous. That's why you have a history really of grisaille painting. So this type of painting we're doing right now is actually a grisaille painting where everything is painted in grays. When you paint very thinly, you can salvage or maintain that luminosity of the ground throughout the painting. That can give your painting a sense of transparency that's more difficult to achieve perhaps in thicker paintings or in pastel paintings. So now I'm going to bounce back and forth between applying my different values. See what happens when we move up on the value scale towards like a 3 or so. Someone's out there mowing their lawn, which is one of the effects of having your studio in your garage, is that you can hear everyone out there. So you have to excuse the noise. I'll move a little bit higher up the value scale. Start looking at my reflected light down here. Oops. Some folds back here, very gentle folds in the paper. That's one reason why I don't have you paint fabric yet, because every fold in the fabric has a, what I like to call the valley and the ridge. And as light moves around those valleys and those ridges, that you're looking at a lot of highlights, midtones, and shadows, and later on we will paint fabric. Right now, this is just a nice simple form and a nice simple value arrangement. Take drawing with me, then you know that in the beginning of my courses we examine drawing without line. And that's because in a way I teach the beginning of drawing like I teach painting. There's a lot of cohesiveness in the way that I try to instruct those two courses together. Hair there from the brush fell out. Little bristle. So this is one of the very first paintings I did in beginning painting in undergrad using oil paint. I'd never used oil paint before, so you know, I'm thinking about form there, but you know, a lot of difference in terms of just learning to see and learning to handle the materials. So I like to keep these things because I think that the excitement of being an artist is seeing growth and learning to see how far along you've come. So don't think too badly of me there. Now we're on our way. Move further up the value scale towards white. Still haven't touched that reflected light because I think when I look at it, you know, I kind of like the warmth of it right now, but to make things cohesive and unified, I'm probably going to have to eventually sort of get rid of it. I think now I'm going to have to deal with that and change that. It's pretty bright back there. I'm going to blend some of my other values into that white. See? I'll take my round brush again. I don't mind saying and admitting that it took me a lot to get to where I am now in terms of my studio practice. I had to work really hard